So let's go ahead again all the way to the bottom of a index HTML, right? Over here where we have the end of quote sections. And again, we're just going to create a generic one, right? So we're just going to write generic font, awesome section, right? So here we're going to call this a contact us or contact, right? So we're going to say contact over here, and the ID is going to be also contact, but here we're going to change it to container fluid over here like this, and here we're going to say contact us, right? So we're going to say contact, let's say us, right, over here. And then after that, what we're going to do is we're going to go all the way on the bottom, right? So we're going to say end of contact section, right, over here. And now we can save it. And this is going to be really interesting, right? Because over here, we're going to be actually placing a columns within the columns, right? So the first thing we want to do is, obviously, we have a row, right? And here we're going to create a column small 6 over here like this. But within this column, we're actually going to be placing some other columns, right? So over here, the first thing we want to do, over here, we're going to create a form, right? And within that form, we're actually going to create over here this div, right? This is going to be a column, right? This is going to be a class over here like this, class, and the class is going to be column, right? Small 6, right? And over here, we're going to say that this is going to be a div within that column, right? We're going to say div class over here. And we're going to say this is going to be a form group over here. And then we're going to close this one out. And within this form group, we're going to place a input, right, over here like this, input, right. Then we're going to write a type, right, and we're going to say this is going to be a text over here like this. And then it's going to be an ID. Right, and we're going to say this is going to be a first name over here like this, and then we're going to say a class over here. This is going to be a form control, right, control, and then we're going to say this is going to be input large class also, and this is again the standard a Bootstrap class, right, this input large, right. And then we're going to say the placeholder is going to be a first name placeholder, right? We're going to say first over here name, right? So we can close this input over here. Now you can see that we have our first input, right? Now what we want to do is we want to actually copy this a couple of times, right? So over here we're going to actually copy this 4 times, right? We're going to copy over here and we're going to paste. Right, and the next one is actually going to be a last name, right? So pretty much all this is going to be the same, but over here the ID is going to be a last name over here like this. Then we're going to say that a last name over here in placeholder, right? But everything, the type stays for now the same, right? So again, we check it out where we have it. And obviously, again, we're going to create more room over here. And then we're going to say that this is going to be a phone, right? So the type is going to be telephone over here like tel, right? Like this. This is the type. And over here, we're going to say that this ID is going to be a phone, right? We're going to say this is going to be a phone. And over here, we're going to say that this is going to be a phone, right? So we're going to say a phone number over here like this. And then the last one is going to be an email, right? So again, we'll just check it out so we don't make a mistake. All right, so we paste it over here and we're going to go back to over here email over here, and we're going to say that ID is also going to be email, and here we're going to write email address, right? Email address over here like this, right? Not with 3 S's, right? Just with 2. Hopefully I didn't misspell it. I'm sorry. Yeah, misspell it, whatever. If I did, well, my bad. And over here, what we would want to do is, after that, we have over here this div, right? But still within this form, we'd actually want to create 2 more divs that would be actually spanning all 12 columns over here, right? So what we would need to do is we're going to write that this is going to be a div, right? Div, and this is going to be a class, and over here column small 12 over here like this, and then we're going to say that this is going to be div class form group, right? Same thing. And after that, we're going to say that this is going to be a text area, right? Over here, this element. And again, the class is going to be form control. This is the classes we need to add for the Bootstrap, right? Control, that it knows that this is going to be a form, right? And here we're going to say that this is going to have a rows, let's say 6. And over here, we're going to place a placeholder, right? Placeholder over here like this. And we're going to say that the placeholder is going to say something like your message here. Message here. Right? Let's close it out. Right? Now we can see that this is a text area, right? That has your message here. Right? And after that, we're going to create one more where we're going to place actually a button. Right? So again, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to create a div. We're going to say this is going to be a class. Again, the class is going to be column. And over here, we're going to say small, over here 12, right? And within this div, we're actually going to place a button, right? And over here, we need to write the type is also going to be button. And class over here is going to be a button block, right? Because we want to span it actually all across. And button large, right? Over here like this. And within that button, we're going to write submit here, right? And the reason why we're writing over here this button block, because I want to span it all the way across, right? And the real, let's say, beauty comes here, right? So this is the reason why we had column 6s, right? So here you can see that this is once it is placed in a parent element that takes up half the screen, right? You can see over here, right? However, if we place more columns within here, right, you can see that they're actually taking half the size of the column that is a parent element, right? And this one actually takes the whole size, right? So that was the whole reason why we had these columns over here, right? So if we go all the way in the bottom, right, remember over here, this is the parent element, right? Over here, this column 6s, right? Which still has the form, right? So technically we need to create one more column 6 right there, right? However, if we're placing over here these columns within this column, right, then actually on a small screen, right, you can see how they're going to be fitting nicely in the parent element, right? So this is something very neat that you can use for whatever you're going to be doing, right? So now we have first column, right? Over here, what I would want to do is actually create another div, right, with a class, and over here it's also going to be column small 6 over here, right? So now we have 2 of them, and within this one, actually I would want to place an iframe, right? So first, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to say that I'm going to add another class, and I'm just going to say this is going to be my class, right? That I'm just going to call it the iframe, right? But within this div, we're just going to place an iframe, right? And what we would need to do, obviously, we know that we would need to go to Google Maps, right? So let's say over here, we're just going to go to Google. We're going to write Google Maps over here. And once we have a Google Maps, right, they're going to show us technically where we're at, and we can just write, I don't know, Boston, maybe, right? Boston, Massachusetts, right? Over here, now it finds where's the Boston, right? And then we have over here this option of sharing, right? So we click over here, we share, and we have Embed Map, right? So once we click on Embed Map, right, only thing we need to do is over here, we're just going to copy this, right? We can close this one, close this one, and we're gonna go back over here, and we need to find where is our column, right? Iframe. So we just paste it over here, and let's just change a couple of things over here, right? You can see width over here is 600, right? Let's make it 100% first of all, right? For this map, and then let's make it a height, something like 374, right? Over here, something like this, right? So now that we're done with this, we're actually ready to go to CSS and start styling this contact section.